So let's look at the second example, which I'll say is a two-step serial dilution. So in this example, we can see that we are supposed to prepare a lower concentration of 0.05 molar from the 10 molar stock solution by first diluting it to 5 molar before preparing the final volume in 10 mils final volume. And also this is a two-step serial dilution because it basically involves two steps. So the first step has to do the dilution of the 10 molar to the 5 molar, and the second step has to do with the dilution of the 5 molar to the final concentration that is required, which is the 0.05 molar. So let's start with the first step. So we are going to use the equation C1 V1 equals C2 V2. So where the C1 is the stock concentration, which is the 10 molar, the C2 is the final concentration that we will prepare here, which is the 5 molar. The V2 is the final volume from the question, and V1 happens to be the amount or the volume of C1 needed to prepare the final concentration C2 in a final volume of 10 mils. So what you do is to make V1 the subject. So making V1 the subject from this equation, we have V1 equals C2 V2 all divided by C1. And substituting these values into this equation, we have V1 to be equal to 5 mils for the first step. Now let's look at the second step. So for the second step, we also use the equation C1 V1 equals C2 V2, where C1 in this case is 5 molar, and V2, which is 10 mils, and C2 is 0.05 molar over here. Also, V1 is also the volume of or the mils of the 5 molar needed to prepare the final concentration of 0.05 molar in a final volume of 10 mils. So making V1 the subject from the equation C1 V1 equals C2 V2, we have V1 to be C2 V2 all divided by C1, and substituting these values into this equation, we have V1 to be equal to 0.1 mils. So what it means is that to prepare the 0.05 molar from our stock standard solution of 10 molar, from the example 2 that we just saw, we will first have to pick 5 mils of our stock solution of the 10 molar concentration and add it to 5 mils of distilled water to prepare the 5 molar solution over here. And it's like also to prepare the final concentration of the 0.05 molar solution, we will pick 0.1 mil of the 5 molar solution and add it to 9.9 mils of water as seen over here. So this is just a simplified explanation to the example 2.